You're firing me because I need to quarantine? Good afternoon. So I was on Realtor.com and I saw this article, and I wanted to share it with you. Thought it was kind of interesting. It says my realtor is isolating after being exposed to COVID-19, but I need to find a home ASAP. Is it okay to break our business arrangement? I said, really? That's rough. It says my realtor just told me that his daughter has COVID-19 and he has to get tested. He also said that he will be quarantining for a week. I am in a crunch for time and need to go out daily to try and find a new house. He is barely answering my texts and told me we'll work it out. What can I do? I said, that might be good news for you when it comes to selling your home, but you're facing the same conundrum many would-be home sellers are worried about. Needing to find a new place to live. Indeed, I have multiple friends who sold their homes and then ended up renting because they weren't able to find a new home for their liking to buy. It sounds as though your agent may be taking some extra precautions, or perhaps he is unvaccinated and looking to prevent possibly spreading the virus. I know you're stressed, but I think it's important to take a moment to recognize that he has your best interests at heart. He's doing the ethical thing by avoiding getting his client sick. Not to mention, it could be the policy for his brokerage to take these steps to stop the spread. Then he's like, at the same time, I recognize that time is of the essence. If he's part of a larger brokerage firm, I would start by contacting them to see what they may be able to do, which is odd. You're kind of going up the ladder when you have a relationship with this person and they really haven't done anything wrong. It says, typically in a situation such as this where a real estate agent has gotten sick, it would be customary for the agent to refer their client to another capable agent within the company. And then it said, if that were to happen, that new agent would become your buyer's agent and provide you with the same services. You mentioned concerns about communication, which leads me to wonder whether you have had a hard time in getting in touch with your realtor in general in the time you've been shopping for a home. If you're truly dissatisfied with your service, you could consider switching to another agent, but beware, that can be easier said than done. Oh, really? It says, if you've signed an exclusivity agreement with this agent, you'll find that is difficult to break, particularly if the agent had already showed you a home that you were to decide to purchase with another agent. Your original realtor could have the rights to a commission on the home anyway. Because of that, other agents may be wary of working with you since it could jeopardize any commission they might expect to receive. This is true. You could seek to request your current agent to cancel your contract with him. If you choose to go this route, you should put the request in writing via email and give him the courtesy of a phone call as well. That said, he could choose not to cancel it, in which case you would essentially be stuck. These exclusivity agreements typically have a time limit, usually around 6 months. So you would be forced to either work with him or wait until you could work with someone else. So what do you think of that? Now, we've been through 2 years of the coronavirus. At the beginning of the virus, I sat at home for 2 weeks and, well, we were all told to sit at home for 2 weeks. And so that's what I did. And the third week, I started getting calls from my buyers wanting to go buy houses. And so I called a broker friend of mine and I said, hey, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm out showing houses. So that's what I did. I mean, we wear masks. We do whatever protection we can, but like our business is such that we have to be out showing houses to make any money so we can pay for food for our families. So in this case, I understand it. I know a lot of people, or I talked to a lot of people that have bought houses after, after they bought them, that said, hey, my real estate agent was 90 years old and she didn't go out. They just referred me to someone else, and that person was terrible, which I thought was interesting. They didn't bother to call me, but tell me after the fact. But anyway, I had some thoughts. I just kind of wanted to go over them. One, the first thing I thought is, how self-absorbed do you have to really be to ask this kind of question? And if you're the agent, do you really want to work with this client at the end of the day? So this client's looking out for number one. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're sitting there and, do you want to work with somebody like that? Or do you want a little bit more give and take? I mean, if you treat yourself as a commodity in real estate, go for it. But I just think I'm more than that. And so I did want to say that I'd been fired for a medical issue before in the past. A younger fellow was looking to get into investment apartments, and he had no idea what he was doing. It was my goal to bring him along slowly, help educate him on the potential pitfalls, and really help him find a property that would provide some sort of a return on an investment and not have it become a money pit. I was responsive when he was looking at properties. I was happy to answer any questions he may have had in a timely manner. About 2 weeks into working with him, I had a terrible pain in my foot that I ended up needing to go to the doctor for. And the buyer never really contacted me during the foot issue. I'd say it lasted about a week. I reached out after a week and asked if he had any questions. He said he'd found another agent and that I was no longer needed. Was it bad? Well, I didn't enjoy getting fired. What did I do? Well, I did feel bad about it for a day or two. But as a real estate agent, there are always bad things that happen to you in your work with people, always. So that's why you never spend a dime before you've actually gotten and cashed the commission check. As I sit here, I have over 6 figures in potential commission from my clients, and yet I know some buyers will disappear. Some sellers will decide not to sell after all, and that's okay. It happens. So, I've been in the business long enough to know that nothing's guaranteed. If someone was going to fire you because you were out for a week, so be it. Not worth working with anyway. Should you fire your agent under quarantine? Well, what's that actually doing for you? The typical deal closes in 30 days, and if the agent is out for 14 days, that puts you away from your target by only 14 days. And that's even if you found the one house to purchase. In this market, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing it take months to actually get a house under contract. And that should mean that the 14 days isn't really an issue. So, I've thought about this issue a lot, and we kind of run our brokerage a little bit different, the brokerage that I founded. In our office, we work as a team. So if I get sick for a few days and a client needs to physically go see houses, I have a member of my team go show the house, and there's no issue with that. I'm a little confused why buyers don't ask about this up front with their buyer's agent. At our real estate brokerage, this can be a little bit different than others. For example, in a larger brokerage, you could literally have agents refuse to show a house because of the commission concerns. And I've always thought that was a little bit petty, so we don't do it. You should ask your agent about that before you sign with them. What do you, like, Mr. Agent, what will you do if you're sick and can't show me a house? Like, do you have someone that can show me a house? It's very weird in the article. They talk about going straight to the manager of the brokerage and asking them what to do. And it seems like that doesn't make any sense. If you're working with an agent, if they're not providing you good service, that's one issue. If they are quarantining due to, the world we live in, if they've given you a set amount of days they're going to be out, I think you almost have to go with that. In this article, it says it's been 7 days. So, in this advice given, the author says that the agent is doing the ethical thing, but you're dealing with a client who has a different set of ethics. At the minimum, a different value system. In this case, you could be the most ethical real estate agent there is and still get fired. And sometimes ethics will do that to you. I think a lot of people think that just because you go the ethical route, it makes it easy if you're always ethical. But no, you can still get fired. In my brokerage, we do use exclusive buyer agency agreements when we work with our clients. They typically describe what each side should expect during the course of purchasing a home. I've never seen the benefit in holding a client to a buyer's agency agreement if they are unhappy with me. I certainly wouldn't hold someone to an agreement if I couldn't perform on my end or if they couldn't perform on theirs. The only time I would change that is if we had a house under contract. Then I would enforce the agreement because I've done everything on my end and I expect you to do the same. And so that's where I sit on this. Should you fire your agent if they're under quarantine for some pandemic and they have given you an amount of time they'll be out and be back to work? No, not. What are the reasons why you hired this person in the first place? You'd heard good things about them. How would that change just because they're under quarantine? Buying a house is a big deal, obviously. A lot of it's done online now as far as getting to the point where you see the listings and everything and you choose the listings. The only time you go out is when you're actually physically looking at each house. And, to me, somebody can do that if you're really in a pinch or something, someone else can do that. They can still write up the contracts. Everything's good. But that's me. What do you think? Would you fire your agent if they said they had maybe a medical issue, they were going to be out for a couple days? I mean, it's a tough world out there. So I'm a little curious. I normally I mean I'd normally give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I could say that honestly. You know, and if it was something where it was like, you know, you got a health issue, it's going to last 6 months, you know, and it's going to detract from you doing business, well, then that's a different issue. But if you're quarantining to try and do the right thing in a worldwide pandemic, I don't think it's right to move on. So anyway, with that, I'm going to head out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.